It does look a match in the top two. There's so many similarities, aren't there? They're both beautifully bred. They're both Danehill colts. Both trainers have been dying for a Group 1 horse, and this is their chance.
And they both cost a fortune as well, and they actually made their runs together in the Caulfield Guineas and finished together as well. They both had interrupted passages, but they are clearly the best two horses in this race. I'm sure they'll fight it out.
Well, there they are, 240 Elvstrom and 340 Kempinsky. Kenny Opera's at 840, Mr. O'Hara 780. Ken Callender, this is a tough race to work out who's going to be favourite. Which way are they going in the betting ring?
Elvstrom's the horse they want, Bruce. Short odds, but he'll be very hard to beat. Remember, these are my prices, and we're not allowed to transmit the bookmakers' prices, but number one, Elvstrom, around about 240, I think you'll find he'll get to. Kempinsky, the tote's got him at 360. I've only got him at $3. I reckon we'll go about halfway between. About $3.20 for Kempinsky, I reckon you'll get in the ring. $7 Kenny Opera. Mr. O'Hara won't be as popular, about $8. Donington, touch disappointing at his last start at Flemington, $11. He wears the cerise, of course, of the Ingham family. Batiro at $30. Life's a Bounty, the same. High Ransom, another roughie. Charm View, the Sydney filly. Is she aiming a little high? Perhaps she is. She's at $10.
So a real toss of the coin here, isn't it? There's no way you can really back the two and get much out of it. You've got to go one or the other. Peter's gone Elvstrom. So has Ken, and Dr. Turf has gone for Kempinsky. This is the Cox Plate start. Darren Beedman joined us earlier. He said, I've got to ride over the Cox Plate distance, which I think is important to him. He's on Batiro here. The two favourites here have drawn 7 and 8 as they run up the straight.
Yes, and I don't think either of them will be right up on the pace early in the race, but I just think they are the two genuine stayers. They're going to be improved by this extra ground today. I think they're clearly head and shoulders above the opposition. I'm pretty keen on Kempinsky myself.
Crowd continues to build behind you too. It's developed into probably the key lead-up race, I think, now to the AAMI Victoria Derby. It's a race that if you run well in this, you've got a great chance of winning the Derby. And the horses have done the double, and we had Helenas last year doing it.
No doubt about that, Bruce. And we've got I'm not saying quality field this year, but certainly the best of them are two very, very good young horses. And, of course, we're talking about Elvstrom there in the picture, and, of course, Kempinsky from the Mick Price stable. Both Danehills, as you mentioned before. I think Elvstrom was about a $300,000 yearling, Bruce, and Kempinsky a lazy $800,000.
And part of the reason is not only the Danehill, but the mares. Circles of Gold for Elvstrom and Tristalove for Kempinsky. So we saw Elvstrom a moment ago. Here's Kempinsky. Just so much to like about him. He beat a hot field at Mornington, including Noble Red, and then his was the really eye-catching run in the Caulfield Guineas. Yeah, they both ran so well, and they both found a little bit of trouble. I know they finished a fair way from the winner in Top Swing, but they both found a little bit of trouble and clearly looking for the 2,000 metres, no doubt about that. So real quality at the top. Now, Kenny Opera also was a fair run in the Guineas, ran 7th on that occasion, was 4th behind Del Zao before that in the Concept, and ran 5th in the Guineas Prelude behind Elvstrom. So the form line's not bad.
That's right, and it got back to the tail, not really given much hope, I thought, last start, and actually by Kenny Led out of Celis Opera. And I think Celis Opera was the mare that Damon Oliver fell from in his first Melbourne Cup ride, so we'll be catching up with Damon a little bit later on. But he's actually run very, very well this campaign, Kenny Opera. I don't think he's got the class necessary to match it with the top two.
For Mr. O'Hara, probably his best form line is 3rd in the Concept, 2 starts ago behind Del Zao.
Yep, drawn nicely. He's going to get a nice run in behind them. He's had every possible chance at his last 3 or 4 runs. He's racing very well. Again, this is a step up for him.
Donington 5 is a slowly developing octagonal 3-year-old. Beat a pretty weak field at Newcastle and then wasn't bad at Flemington last start.
Now, that was behind Our Court, who ran a very good race, of course, last week at Caulfield. He's fitter. He was second up into the mile last week, but again takes the step up to 2,000 and a bit here. This is a lot tougher. That was not really a strong race at Flemington. I think Donington, although improving, has got a little bit of ground to make up.
Batiro will be big odds number 6. It's been 28 days since he last ran. He was in that race at Mornington. Darren Beedman's riding him. I think he's pretty keen to be riding over the Cox Plate distance before Lonro today.
Yeah, it's nicely bred horse. What bothers me, he has been scratched twice in the last 2 or 3 weeks. So I guess one can surmise there's been a problem there with Batiro. And I think he'll be chasing the ambulance home, to be honest.
Life's a Bounty. Well, he's a maiden. He started the spring with a 2nd at Moonee Valley on a heavy track in August. He was only 8th behind Cherubim at Caulfield last start.
Yeah, that was a very slowly run race, the one won by Cherubim there at Caulfield. But he's flying a little bit too high here, Bruce.
High Ransom, number 8, 4th at Caulfield. Made some ground in that race at Cherubim won. His only win was at Benalla in a maiden in September.
Yes, he's actually a nice horse, High Ransom, but again, might flop into 3rd.
And Charm View, I guess, adds some spice because she's the filly in the race. She's a stablemate of Timberina, so she's probably going for the Oaks. She ran on last start. She was 8th in the manifold. Her form's okay.
Tell you, Bruce, actually her form is better than it looks on paper. She's had absolutely no luck at all. Very good trainer, Tony Wildman, as well. Got Steve King on board. Absolute mile back at Flemington before her unlucky run at Caulfield. I think she's looking for the 2,000 metres. I think she's my tip for third.
So Charm View for third, but 1 and 2 certainly stand out here. Dr. Liking Kempinsky to beat Elfstrom. Damien Oliver's going to join us pretty shortly, but the AAMI Vase are on their way to the post. Kylie Gillies has caught up with somebody who knows what it's like to win a Cox Plate.
At this time last year, there was a horse going around by the name of Northerly. He wasn't too bad, Fred Kersley, was he? How different are your feelings this year?
Very mixed emotions. In fact, the last couple of years here with Northerly's been wonderful. This year will be very good, but not quite as good.
Does it bring back memories? Are you a little nervous for...
I think you take in the atmosphere of Cox Plate Day, which is a great day on the racing calendar, and you're part of that, and it's just great to be part of that.
Fred, tell us what's the latest on Northerly.
Yeah, he's on his way back to Perth. He's in transit as we speak. He should arrive back to Perth on Sunday. Hopefully all goes well, but he'll remain in light training for some time now.
You were saying to me earlier, fingers are crossed. You don't think all is lost?
Not necessarily so, but it'll take some time.
Have you got a tip for us?
Yeah, I think Lonro will win, of course, but I can't help but remember Defier's finishing effort last year. And I think if he regains his best form, then he's a threat today.
Fred, enjoy the day. I know it's a very different one from last year and, of course, the year before. And have a great day.
I will do. Thank you.
Very astute, isn't he, Fred Kersley there. Peter Donegan joins us.
In the mounting yard, Bruce, you can see Tony Vase, the trainer of Elfstrom, just chatting to the owners, and we might borrow AJ for just a moment. I guess you were disappointed that you couldn't get into the Cox Plate, but this might be a blessing in disguise.
Don't know, Pete. But no point dwelling on it. It's gone.
Were you upset?
Look, under normal circumstances, I would have accepted their decision, but I don't think today's Cox Plate is a normal circumstances Cox Plate. It's not a race with the depth of normal Cox Plates. I think it's the weakest Cox Plate since Rising Prince won in 1985. And, Longrow looks a good thing if the race is run at a pace to suit him. Otherwise, if they go and attack, and that might sort of pull up a wild card. But, and also the stats are my horse would have been, or rather than that, it's the second time in 74 years that a 3-year-old hasn't tested the race. So, he just would have added a bit of mystery to the race, and surprisingly enough, to run 5th in the Cox Plate would have won the horse $24,000 or $26,000 more dollars than what he would have if he wins this race. So,
well, they're on their way to the post now. We'll let you get up and take a spot. Best of luck, son.
Thanks, Pete.
Tony Vase with Elfstrom there on his way to the post in the AAMI Vase. As we count down towards the Carlton Draft Cox Plate at 3 o'clock Eastern time, this race, the AAMI Vase, a traditional lead-up now. First run in 86 here, but traditional lead-up to the Victoria Derby next Saturday. Sun shining through. They're really lucky with the weather, and the track is perfect because I think on Tuesday when Pakenham was called off after about race 7, there's a lot of feeling that this could be a heavy track today, but not the case.
No, this track has always recovered well from rain too, of course, with the Strathayr Circus, Bruce, and it just looks magnificent, the track today, and the times have been good so far, so let's hope it remains dry.
A lot talked about tactics in the Cox Plate. Well, there's a bit of a battle between Pat Payne and Kieran McAvoy here. Payne on Elfstrom, and McAvoy on Kempinsky.
Keeping in mind, I guess, Bruce, that they've got the Derby next Saturday. They don't want to have a hard run today. The horse is stepping up to the 2,500 metres of the Derby next Saturday for the first time in their careers. They don't want to have a hard run. They want to win, obviously, but they want to look after the amounts as well.
I'd say the winner of this will be favoured for the Derby because Ambulance is not in the Derby. Let's find out who the favourite for this race is with Ken Callender.
Yes, Bruce, it's surprising here. I didn't think there'd be much between Elfstrom and Kempinsky in the market, but all the big money's for Elfstrom. He's solid in the ring. You can get $2.50, but Kempinsky got out to as much as $4, which is surprising with a big punter like Dr. Turf liking him so much.
OK, so they've come for one. Pat Payne, who rides Elfstrom, he has won this race 2 of the last 3 years, Scalato and Newton. So, John Letts, that must give a jockey confidence when he's won 2 of the last 3 runnings of the AAMI Vase in Pat Payne's case.
Oh, yes, and Bruce, the horse... Look,
very relaxed. Paddy looks very relaxed. I think he's got to be the one to beat, Bruce. The two horse looks well as Kempinsky. He looks okay, but gee, the top weight, the number one horse, Elvstrom, with Paddy Payne right, gee, very good. A lovely type of horse, lovely type of horse. If he wins today, he'll be favourite in the Derby for sure.
As the filly, let's see, she settled well behind the stalls there?
Yes, settled down. There's not one horse here that is actually broken out in a sweat or anything at all, Doc. But Charm View's about there.
Just lost you there, John. So John on banjo. Their Life's About Him. Noel Keller just taking some of the weight off there as it goes into the stalls along with Kenny Opera, who's one of the outside chances in the race. But this race really has been dominated by favourites in the past. Saddlecloth 1 and 2 have just kept on winning, and today it looks as if they are the two, as we're about to join Sport 927, $2.30 and $3, the two favourites here, Elvstrom and Kempinsky. Sport 927 commentator Brian Martin for the AAMI Vase.
Now in goes the filly, Charm View into 6, High Ransom 5, Kenny Opera 4, Life's About Him 3 and 2 is Mr. O'Hara, Batiro on the inside. So 6 in, 3 to come up. Elvstrom coming along now. Elvstrom, Patrick Payne up. Into gate number 7 in the red cap pat. And the second pick in the market is Kempinsky, drawn alongside him into gate number 8. And we wait on the last runner to come forward now. And that's Donington up to 9, and they'll be set to go. Cox Plate start here for the AAMI Vase. And they stand and they're racing. They've come out in a good line too, with Kenny Opera, one of the first out here from Mr. O'Hara. Elvstrom out in the centre is finding his feet early with Kempinsky outside him. Batiro just over racing a tad over on the inside as Mr. O'Hara leads Kenny Opera. And over racing Batiro and now whipping around the Elvstrom. Payne's going to send him forward as Batiro wouldn't settle. Life's About Him got checked off him and Kempinsky is out 3 deep as Elvstrom strides out the 1600 metre mark to go up and head off Mr. O'Hara. And the favourite Elvstrom goes to the front now from Mr. O'Hara. A length into Kenny Opera and Kempinsky is caught out 3 deep without any cover. In the middle, Life's About Him, the inside Batiro. 1 then to the filly, Charm View, 2 further back then Donington and High Ransom last of all. Elvstrom stayed off the fence and Mr. O'Hara's back inside him. He hasn't crossed over on Elvstrom. It goes to the side and leads by just over a length. He'll get down to the rail now. He moved 2 lengths to Mr. O'Hara, half to Kenny Opera. Now Kempinsky gets in 4th on the outside of Batiro. 2 further back, Life's About Him, the inside Charm View, 2.5 Donington, and a length of the 1,000 metre mark last of all is High Ransom. And Payne dictates to the 1,000 down the back on Elvstrom, a length and a half Kenny Opera, a half into Mr. O'Hara, 2 to Kempinsky. He's running 4th, 1 off the fence. Batiro is 5th, 6th on the outside, Life's About Him, then Charm View, a length into Donington, a length to High Ransom last of all. Around the turn of the 800 metre mark, dictating the terms of favourite Elvstrom in the AAMI Vase, just over a length in front of Kenny Opera. And now Kempinsky has to come out 3 deep in the red colours going forward. Then Mr. O'Hara, Life's About Him, Donington pulled deep. Then Batiro, Charm View's run up behind them, and 3 to High Ransom. Kempinsky is setting Elvstrom alight as they go to the 500 metre mark and the sprint right on. Kempinsky going up and laying it right down to Elvstrom now. A length and a half, Life's About Him, Charm View getting out. Kenny Opera dropped out. Then Mr. O'Hara. On the turn they race now, and it's Kempinsky on the outside, the inside Elvstrom. 2 lengths to Life's About Him, Charm View back in the centre. They straighten together here. Elvstrom on the inside and Kempinsky. A great battle. Kempinsky goes up to Elvstrom. Stride for stride, the 2 favourites. Kempinsky and Elvstrom coming back. Kempinsky on the outside. Elvstrom kicking again. Kempinsky with its nose in front. Kempinsky wins it a half hit on the line to Elvstrom. 5 away, 3rd in the race, Life's About Him. Then Mr. O'Hara further back in the race, in Kenny Opera. Charm View followed by High Ransom, and the stragglers are Batiro, and back there with it is Donington.
What an entree to the Cox Plate. How stirring was that? 2 Danehill colts, both worth a king's ransom, and going to the Derby, and today not a stride between them all the way up the straight. 2, 1 and 7, Life's About Him, the real trick there. But these 2 horses now will dominate the Derby proceedings. I know Noble Red will also come into the picture, but what a race it was. Great riding by both Payne and also McAvoy. There's Kempinsky, and there is Earlstrom. These two colts really gave it their all. This was as good as it gets for an AAMI Vase. And I tell you what, if the Cox Plate is as good a finish as this, they'll be jumping off the stand at the end of the day.
That was terrific, Bruce. McAvoy tried to put the pressure on Earlstrom early. He'd had a nice run in front of Earlstrom, but boy, did he fight to the line. 6-4 each of 2 next week, Bruce.
Yeah, it looks what Derby trials from both of them. And, you know, if you backed Earlstrom today, you'd probably want to back him against Kempinsky in the Derby next week, and vice versa.
No doubt, they both look like the distance is going to suit them. They've cleared away from the others. Clearly the others just in a different class. And two very, very good young horses. Great race.
Not a breath between them, didn't they show some fight? And both the trainers, Tony Vassell and Mick Price, would be absolutely wrapped in their charges today. Getting close together here, Payne and McAvoy, two of the top riders in Australia.
Paddy Payne, happy not to go for the whip. McAvoy has given Kempinsky a few around the backside there. Obviously, as I was saying before, not really wanting to punish them too much with next week's race in mind.
Good look here from inside. You can see Kempinsky just getting level. Still hasn't quite got his nose in front. And as Dr. Turf said, Payne hands and heels. Hands and heels. He's content to do that. Kempinsky on the outside.
Not exactly cutting it in half, Karen McAvoy. Just happy to give him one across the rump there.
And right on the line, he's got his head in front, but right on the line, there was not a breath between them. Well, there was.
There's Walter Altieri, the owner of Kempinsky, and why wouldn't he be happy? He's paid $800,000 for it.
And he's got the Derby favourite probably right now as we join Peter Donegan after a thrilling AAMI Vase.
Mick Price, what a stirring race. We can look at it from an unbiased point of view, but even when you're involved in it, I reckon that would have been an exciting race to watch.
Two excellent colts. Be nice to see them sort of fighting out like that in the VRC Derby. It's pretty exciting to watch. And look, I just take my hat off to my colt. He's out of a Sir Tristram man. He's a bulldog. He's never, ever sort of let anything pass him. You know, once he's got over a journey, his run the Caulfield Guineas was good. And I just hope it hasn't been too sterling and a hard run for him for next week. But pretty happy with him.
And he relaxes beautifully in his races.
Most important, he'll go over to Flemington next week. He'll put his head down and he'll coast along for 2,000 metres, and then out he'll come, and hopefully he does what he does today.
And from a potential stayer to Halle Berry in the next, can she do it again?
Different race, probably not going to come out as hard, and before too long, and Dantana will come out, but probably not as hard.
Mick, congratulations, best of luck for the next race.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Mick Price with Halle Berry in the Swivel Vets Stakes. Karen McAvoy rides Mr. Prudent in the Cup today, and Natural Blitz in the Cox Plate, as well as Sweet Corn late in the day. He's got a great lot of rides today here at Moonee Valley.
Hasn't he? Rode that so well. And interesting, he was quite happy to take the set, whereas Earlstrom, they're both drawn awkwardly, and Paddy Payne on Earlstrom decided to take the punt and go forward, and actually got there quite cheaply, I thought.
Well, a big race in its own right, the AAMI Vase, but it has set the Derby up next week, that is for sure.